Well, it's a cold and nasty day outside, and I thought, well, what a better day to make some hard apple cider than today. A good day to be inside doing something. So today I'm going to make some apple cider, and I'm using pure apple juice. I bought this from Costco, and it's 100% juice. It's not from concentrate. There are no kinds of preservatives in it because you can't have any of that. So I'll be doing a 1 gallon batch. Everything here has been sanitized. The counter, anything I'm using is sanitized. So you have to be very clean with things. So you don't want to have bacteria or unwanted bacteria in here. So I'm going to pour this in my fermentation bucket. And right now, I'm not worried about whether I get a lot of oxygen in there. Actually, oxygen is your friend right now. So there's my 1 gallon. Some people think, well, why don't you just do it in here? Well, I'm going to add some things, and I need some room for that to ferment and bubble. So here we go. So what I'll be doing today is I'll be adding some raisins to give a little tannins to it, and really not for flavor. It's not really for nutrients for the yeast. It's more just to give this a little more of a mouthfeel when you drink it. And I'll be using some of my yeast. I got about half a packet of D47 yeast from Lalvin. Now this ferments out at about 14%, but that's going to be the trick for making this low ABV apple cider. It'll be about 8%. I'll also be adding a little lemon juice, and I squeezed the lemon so it's all natural, to give a little acidity to it, to give it a little brightness, a little balance. And then we'll be taking a specific gravity reading of the must, or the combination of all of this in here, the must. We'll be taking a specific gravity reading to determine the sugar content of the mixture. So let's add our lemon juice. So far we have the lemon juice of 1 lemon, a gallon of apple juice, about a 1/4 cup of raisins, and I chopped them up. Also have my mixing spoon that, of course, has been sanitized in my sanitization bucket over here. We're going to give this a good stir. I won't be adding any additional sugar to this. I want a low sugar content. That way when it ferments out, it'll only be about 7 to 8% alcohol. I don't want it to go to 14%. This is just something light, great for summer, really refreshing. So now let's take a reading. And like I say, this is going to give us a reading level on the sugar that's in this. And what I'm looking for is about 1.050 specific gravity. And you have my cheap wine thief turkey baster, but it works. Once again, all it's been sanitized. Say 1.045 to 1.055 would be great, something in that. Water, just pure water, has a specific gravity of 1.00. So anything above that is showing some density in the water, and because it's juice, it'll be from the sugar. So let's see what we have. Back into the sanitization bucket. And we are almost right on it. I would call that 1.050, so that's great. And since all this has been sanitized, it'll go right back into here where it belongs. All that's left to do And be careful with these things, they're very fragile. You see how it dropped in there? I broke one like that. So all we need to do is add our yeast. And this yeast you can dry pitch it, and I don't have to mix it with any water or sugar or anything to get it going. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that around on there. This is just me. Some people don't stir anything, I'll stir it up. And I'm using this slotted spoon and going back and forth on the surface. I want to introduce as much oxygen as I can right now. That'll just help the yeast along. The yeast need the oxygen in the beginning. Now, after it's fermented for several days or more, you don't want to add oxygen to it. It'll actually, you could end up with vinegar. We don't want that. I'll make kombucha another day. Okay. The only thing that's left to do is put the lid on it. I got my airlock that's been sanitized with sanitized water in it. And you could use, if you don't have any sanitized water, you could use gin, vodka, anything to keep it from getting infected by some kind of bacteria. And this also keeps things like fruit flies out here or anything like that. So now we'll let this set probably a week or so and see what happens. It should ferment out. This should go down to 1.00 or a little less, since alcohol is less dense than water. It might even go down to less than 0, like a 0.990 or something like that. Well, I made some a few weeks ago, and I decided, well, I can't show you the finished product here yet. I can at least show you what it'll be like. And I love these little bottles. They're reusable. I wash them, sanitize them, replace the seals when they get bad. And these will hold pressure. They're beer bottles, so they'll hold pressure. And so therefore, you can bottle carbonate. And what I will do with this, after it's fermented all the way out to 1.00 or less, I will then add an unfermentable sugar to it to sweeten it as much as I want. And what I mean by that, the yeast can't eat that and create more alcohol and cannot create more carbon dioxide. After that, I will use a formula, and I will use a fermentable sugar by this formula to put just enough in there to carbonate it to whatever level I want, and then bottle it and let it sit. So, but anyway, this is one I did a few weeks ago. This will give you an idea of what this is going to do. Whoa, there we go. And I hope you can see that. Now this one I didn't sweeten as much, but it has a lot of carbonation. That's really good. On a hot summer day or afternoon, this would be great. This turned out to be about 8%, 7.5% alcohol. It's not a lot, but nice refreshing drink. So, cheers.